That's awesome. So, Bella, I think if anyone's on social media like at all, I would say that everyone's got to hear your songs a couple times. I mean, if you'd like to like talk about basically how long have you been singing for, like what inspires you.
Yeah.
Um, hmm.
So I know everyone's like, I've been doing this for as long as I can remember, but like literally, I feel like I've been singing forever. But I think I've like been writing music since I was around like 12 or so. I think one of the biggest inspirations for me is probably my dad because he used to be in the music industry. Now it's something he mostly does on the side or just as a hobby. But I've grown up like watching him do his recording stuff and singing with other people, which was also like something I've also always looked up to. Um, so yeah, and artists that inspire me, I said Lana Del Rey is probably like one of the biggest inspirations for me, as well as Claro because I feel like me and her have similar like recording styles, and also Be a Doobie. So yeah.
That's cool. And then Chris, I know photography as well is something that's like very like prevalent on like all of our social medias. Like, so how did you get into like photography? And you like looking on like your social media page, you're really good. So, are you self-trained? Anybody teach you anything?
So it kind of all started in relating with Bella too. Bella was my neighbor in sixth grade. She moved in and we just became friends. We also kind of bonded through music too, like singing. But also, we both had Instagrams, right? And Bella used to be like, oh, like, take photos of me, like, let's have a photo shoot. And I would just kind of be like, okay. And I had my little iPad and I would just go take photos of Bella. And yeah, so I started just taking photos of Bella and I was like, oh wait, I'm kind of good at this. And or I thought I was good at it. And so then I was like, oh, my mom, she's not a photographer, but she has like a professional camera. Like when she goes traveling, she always like takes her professional camera and takes photos. So she kind of knows like what photography is. Um and so I was like, oh, like my mom has a camera, like maybe I can just start using hers. And then also at that time, I don't know if you know, but on Instagram at that time, like it was trending to have like a nice feed, like different aesthetics for feeds. Like I remember Bella would have like a purple, like tinted aesthetic feed. Mine was like a blue aesthetic, and then I would change it like according to like every season. Like every season, like if it was like fall, I'd be like, oh, I'll have like a brownish color like feed. So basically, like the style at that time was very minimalist too. That was the kind of style I liked. So I would just kind of like go around, take photos of different stuff, just so I can like satisfy my feed, if that makes sense. Um, so then so then after that, like since I've been just taking photos a lot, I was like, oh mom, like I really like taking photos of people. Like, can I get a camera? And she was like, well, I'm not gonna buy your camera. Like, you have to like save up or something. So I was like, okay. So I bought a camera like half on half, like we split it, and then I got like lenses. I got like the cheapest lens you can get, and then I just started like practicing with friends. I just like asked just random, like not random friends, but like people that I'm not like super close with. But yeah, I would just kind of text and be like, "Oh, hey, do you want to do a photo shoot? We can go here and here." And yeah, and so I've practiced on like all my friends taking photos of them, and then um, yeah, so that's kind of how I started. I kind of self-taught myself. I'm not super good with like the whole technical part of like photography, like knowing like the details about the camera, but I kind of learned on my own just by like practicing with my friends, and like learning how to adjust the camera and everything. But my mom, because she's not a photographer, but she's an architect, so I kind of grew up in like a house of having like aesthetic, like some kind of aesthetic. She's a modern architect too, so that did really train me from the beginning just to like have a good eye of like aesthetics, composition. Um, yeah. So that's kind of how I started. And then, yeah, I've just been practicing since then. And then for the past like 2, 3 years, when I started to get more serious, that's when I started getting more clients and whatnot. Yeah.
That's really awesome. And then, so for Tenali, you're a health and wellness officer. So to my knowledge, this is something that's pretty new in South Pass. So what's it about? How did you get into it? And if others want to get involved, how can they contribute?
Yeah, so this position is only 2 years old. Beanie and Karis were the health and wellness officers last year. They're both really amazing. And so I initially heard about the position because of one of our assemblies where they introduced themselves. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I didn't know we had a health and wellness position. So then when it came time, like closer to the end of the school year, I went and talked to Mr. Shotwell and was asking him just about like the position. He's like, you can apply later on. And so in relation more to wellness, kind of, I feel like my parents raised me and my brothers in a more kind of like holistic manner. So we're super into wellness for my entire life. My dad specifically, he works for LA County and he's a senior human relations officer. So he works with like at-risk youth, organizing a ton of different wellness and leadership events. So I've kind of been forced to go to some of his events and just like be immersed in that entire world. So I've always kind of had like wellness at the forefront of my life or just been surrounded by it. So this position kind of just seemed like something perfect that encompassed a lot of my interests because I myself am trying to always get to this point of wellness, which I don't think anyone really reaches like the pinnacle of wellness in their life. So it's always something you're striving towards. But I figured this is a perfect way for me to kind of like advance that and increase my knowledge about the topic. And then also just help to create a lot more wellness at our school because I know that's something that a lot of high schoolers struggle with. And in terms of getting involved, so later a lot later this year, you can apply for the position. As of now, it's still just two people. Noah Kuhn is the other health and wellness officer who, you know, Maya, he's a wonderful person. And so you can apply for the position. You could also feel free to reach out to the SPHS Wellness Instagram account. You can DM us. You can email us at, I think it's SPHSwellness@gmail.com. I can check though. And just give us any suggestions if you want to know or just find out ways you can help. As of now, we're really trying to push for a wellness day for all of SPHS students. So if you really want to help out with that, you can write a public comment for the next school board meeting, just detailing your support for a wellness day for all our students and teachers. So yeah.
That's really awesome that you're into that right now. And then, so for Bella, so for like for your journey throughout like high school for your music, how's it like affected your school life? How have you grown as an artist in general?
So in my first 2 years in high school, like as an underclassman, music was something that I mostly kept to myself. I would post like little covers on Instagram or whatever, but like as for my own writing, I would just do that on my own and record sometimes with my dad, but I never got to the point where I would put anything out on my own at that time. So in my junior year, I started working casually with a producer who he's worked with like large artists such as he worked with Billie Eilish, he worked with Joji, Charlie XCX, Lizzo, people like that. So like first getting to meet him after a while was like crazy. I got to hear some of the like behind the scenes songs that haven't been released, which is so cool. I knew him when I was really little, and I hadn't seen him in a while, but he knew that I still sang, so he reached out to me and my mom and just wanted to kind of reunite and see what we could do. So throughout that year in junior year, I would just record for fun with him. I would write songs, show them to him. We would record, just do it for fun. And then in the summer going to my senior year, he started showing more of a serious interest and wanted to work with me in that way. So I was recently offered like a record deal, which is insane to me still, because it's kind of a dream that I would always like fantasize about, but never actually thought I could achieve because that's difficult. But to be honest, this opportunity was also just like a connection and just luck in that way too. So I now have a record deal, and I've put 3 songs out, putting out a 4th very soon. This has definitely like really impacted my high school life. It's crazy that I get to like already do this. So me and my producer, like, we work really well together. Actually, we both kind of know the sound that we're looking for. We work super fast. Like, Tired of It was recorded in like 1.5 hours. Sunday Morning was recorded in 30 minutes. Like, I think we just work super well together. And yeah, this has just like majorly impacted my life, even though this is just the beginning. I've been able to share my music with the whole world and the whole school, which is nerve-wracking, but also so cool to be able to like see all of the different countries who have heard my music. And all my social media has changed and everything. So it was kind of like a drastic change, but it's also, I've gotten nothing but amazing feedback, and everyone has been super cool about it. So yeah.
That's really awesome. I actually was listening to your song like earlier this morning.
Thank you.
And then so for Chris, so how's your journey for high school for your photography been, and how's it affected your school life as well?
So I've been kind of being very active at my photography since 8th grade. So I feel like people at school kind of already know, like, oh, like Chris in photography. It's always kind of been like a thing, I feel like. But yeah, I just think probably it hasn't really affected my high school life as much, except the fact that like high school can get very busy. And even last year, I hardly was able to like do any photo shoots. I was just so busy with school. And I feel like it really like teared down like my creativity. Like I wasn't able, like I didn't even have any ideas either, which was really weird. But yeah, so recently in quarantine though, that really like I've been like, I don't know, I kind of, it's not like I like quarantine, but I've been like actually having a good time because I feel like I have a lot more time on my hands, like to like actually think of like new ideas, like become inspired and like actually follow through with like photo shoots and stuff. But yeah, so like in terms of like creativity, I think it's not like a big problem, but like people do like judge me, or like if I take something that if I like do a photo shoot that might be like a little weird, people are like, oh, that's so weird, like didn't the model feel uncomfortable, or like yeah, so I just get like little stuff like little comments like that, but it's not really a big deal to me because like I'm just doing what I'm doing. But yeah.
No, that's awesome. So for your ideas, how do you like come up with them? Is it just on the spot? Do you keep track of them like in a journal or something? Like what's your like brain process?
So I think the biggest like inspiration people can have is like just honestly just really like immersing yourself in like what kind of style you like. Like I follow like a ton of like photographers that I like. I look at like magazines or like Pinterest, and when I see like those inspirations, like the style, sometimes it just pops up, and sometimes I just put I have like a note. I have like what's it called? Just like notes on my like phone, like just like a whole list of like what I want to do, and like once I find an idea that I like, I usually think of like a model that I think would, or a model like okay, like none of my for for my photo shoots I shoot a lot of like friends, you know, and they're not actual models, but I kind of like that because I feel like it's kind of fun because I can kind of make like someone that's not an actual model and into like a model, like but yeah, so I would just think of a friend that I think would fit the look, you know, fit the style, be comfortable with it, and then I just ask them and follow through with it. But yeah, I still have like a whole list that I want to do, but I still have to like plan it all out because it is kind of like a lot of work to plan out. Yeah.
No, that's really awesome. And then for Tenali, same question. Even though the health and wellness like position is like fairly new, still, how has it like affected high school so far for you?
I guess when I was going into the position, I didn't really think about all the work that it would be. Like, I didn't think it would just be like easy breezy, but it's definitely, or ASB is definitely not just like another elective. Like, we work really hard in the class. I like Belle and Chris. It's just made me a lot more busy. I'm in meetings a lot after school, collaborating with the other people in my little wellness team to plan events and see what we could do to try and suggest changes to school policies. It's made me a lot more, I guess, appreciative of like the behind the scenes of activities and policy changes, because if you're not immersed in that, you're not aware to, if you're not really immersed in it, you're not really aware of the things that are going on behind the scenes. And I'm saying that because like I wasn't, like, this is my first year in ASB, so I didn't know all the things that went behind planning. So yeah, it's caused me to be a lot more busy. But thankfully, this is also my senior year, so I have less classes than I usually would. So I do have some time to still do all my other work and really dedicate a good amount of time to this position. But yeah, it's definitely just caused me to be a lot busier, and just like really oddly appreciative of my time at South Pass, because I'm like, wow, okay, like I can finally be more involved at the school, but it's also like my final year, so it's really motivated me to become a lot more involved in like activities and showing my school spirit, oddly.
That's great. And then going back to Bella, so far, like what is your music about? Like the songs that you've put out, like what inspired them specifically?
I think a lot of my songs, this wasn't even like something I meant to do, but I've just kind of found a pattern that a lot of my songs are very nostalgic. It's always reminiscing about something that happened or is going to happen, and that'll also be noticed. Like the other song I'm about to put out is super nostalgic too. Tired of It is about something that literally everyone goes through mostly at some point in their life, just about kind of heartbreak. But I also think it can be like interpreted in many ways. It's also about like not being able to live in the present and always constantly thinking about either the past or the future, or just like definitely something that everyone can go through. Yeah, I think it can be interpreted in many ways. And I also enjoy writing music out of bad situations, like making something creative and art out of a bad situation, which is also what Sound of Summer did for me. Literally everyone in the world can relate to this right now. It's kind of how we didn't get to have a summer in 2020, and just thinking about the summers before and wishing that we could have that again this year. It's pretty apparent if you read the lyrics that this is what it's about. And yeah, I think this weird sadness thing that we had this summer is something we've all experienced, and especially because this is my senior year and their senior years as well. This was just a song out of that weird situation.
So, Chris, we've already talked about some of like the things that inspire you and like where you get your ideas from. So, what are some future plans, hopefully, if you can share anything?
Like my future goals, or like what I have planned for like next photo shoots and stuff.
For next photo shoots.
So again, like I do actually have a list of like stuff I like want to do, but it's a matter of like following through with it. Right now I'm just very busy with like school and college apps, and my mom is very like, oh, like you shouldn't go on photo shoots anymore, like you're done. So a lot of the times when I do photo shoots I kind of have to like sneak, like I have to like just not tell them, I just do it. But yeah, it is kind of hard. I do have like some really cool people that I'm really excited to shoot with that I've already contacted, like some influencers, but that's a matter of like planning it with them. I do have this one photo shoot with this model that I hit up. She's like this model that I've been following for so long, and she's so good. I love her like style and everything. And I just DM'd her and I was like, oh, do you want to do this styled photo shoot? And it's basically like this glam look. So we got this like head jewelry for her, and it's just a very like glam look. But yeah, that jewelry thing is gonna come in like a month, so we have to like wait a month for that. But yeah, so that's kind of my plans for photo shoots. I don't really have, usually I'm pretty spontaneous with it, or if I have time then I plan it out, but right now I don't have a lot of time.
That's really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. And then Tenali, so as a health and wellness officer, so really what is like the importance of mental health and why is it important to use pronouns?
So, when I'm talking about the importance of mental health, I kind of like to focus on, obviously we have like our physical being and then our mental being, and they both really have to work together. There's not one that's more important than the other. Like if your physical isn't doing well, like it'll hinder on your mental, and if your mental isn't doing well, that'll negatively impact your physical being. So mental health really impacts just how we feel about ourselves. Sorry, how we feel about ourselves, how we think, and our actions, honestly, even if we're not really conscious of them. So it's really important to kind of figure out if you do struggle with mental health, because one of the issues with getting help is like being one of the issues that comes with like dealing with mental health is just getting diagnosed for any problems that you may have or conditions. And that's really the first step into kind of securing a really good state of mental being, is like recognizing that you might have a problem, and that's totally normal. Most individual, I think it's like 1 in 3 people will ever have to experience like mental health issues during their life. So it's a very normal thing. A lot of high schoolers have to deal with issues with their mental health. So it's a really important thing that we all will likely have to deal with. And I'm sorry, I'm like rambling. I'm trying to like collect my thoughts, but yeah, it's really important because it impacts our lives, whether or not we really like to think about it. Or sorry, Bella, do you want to say?
Sorry, I was gonna say something. I like am surprised that the wellness officers wasn't like something that happened. When was it? Was it made this year, or when was it? Or no, like
Last school year. Yeah, I think it was the first time.
that's literally like so important. I feel like I know we have counselors, but it is so important to like have other people to go to that can maybe be more like relatable, like students for like mental health.
Mhm.
That's just like a really, really good part of our school. And girly, you're like the like person for this. Like actually,
Yeah, like if anyone, I think Tana is like the best person for this. She's literally like the most like sensitive, caring person ever. But I think like with mental health, there's just such a big stigma around it. Being like mental health is not really as deep as it is. Like people don't really think of it as much of don't people don't think of it as much of a big deal as it actually is. So I feel like that's why there was never wellness officers before. But I'm so glad that like they chose people like Noah and Tenali to do it, because I feel like it's just perfect like for them. But yeah,
Thanks, guys. You really like beautifully also
I
explained
do
mental.
it.
Oh, I love you. But yeah, it just totally impacts like how we think about ourselves and like our self-esteem. And I know that can really falter in high school, sadly, because we're all coming into ourselves. So it's really just important to maintain our mental health. And with pronouns specifically, so in high school, we're all trying to find our identity, and using our pronouns, just normalizing using them in any introduction. You're just creating like a safe space for people to feel open to share their identity and feel as if they're not going to be harmed because they want to share that. Um, yeah, it just helps people feel safe, because I'm sure we would, even there's a lot of people that say, oh, I don't care like what you call me, my pronouns, like it doesn't matter. But if you yourself identify as a woman, I'm sure you would feel uncomfortable if someone referred to you with like pronouns usually associated with the male sex, like, oh, he, like, even though you really identify as a she. So it's just about making people feel comfortable. So yeah, that's why I'd say it's really important to use pronouns, just to help other people feel safe and feel seen.
Yeah, and a great way to do that is to like put it in like your social media bios. I know like I've seen a lot more people do that, which is like really awesome, I think.
Yeah, especially, oh, sorry.
No, no,
Especially
no.
for me, like a cisgender person, it's really important that like I'm trying to be an ally to people who maybe aren't, and just normalize the whole sharing of pronouns.
And then so let's go into more like personal life and stuff. So overall, for any of you guys who feel free to like jump in, how has your high school life been in general, especially from like middle school down to high school and then pretty soon college, which is insane?
For me, overall, like my middle school and high school experience has been fairly good. I've met these people, and when you think about it, like we literally watched each other like grow up. I feel like I don't even think about that enough, but it's actually insane. Like I literally watched all my friends grow and just become. We've just been finding ourselves basically. It's all we're doing. We're just all finding ourselves and just figuring out who we want to be around. And I think that I have a really good circle of people I've surrounded myself by, which is definitely one of the biggest reasons why this has been a good couple years, more than a couple years. I do feel like high school is definitely an eventful time for everyone, just highs and lows all the time, which is something that I've gone through, everyone's gone through. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that all three of us, we've been friends for so long and it's been that way. And I think even though we've been friends for so long, I feel like this year was really the year where we all really bonded the most. And it's actually kind of funny because we bonded during quarantine where we saw each other like less. But I think it just really showed how much we like miss each other and we do care about each other so much. So I'm so glad that like we were all able to like have our close knit of friends at such a young age, and just like be there for each other so early on.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna reiterate what Bella and Chris already said. But even though, yeah, there's been a lot of highs and lows for me in throughout my high school journey, but because I have a great group of friends, they really just like helped me get through it. And now when I look back on it, like I only really see the highs. I know when we're all going through stuff, it's really hard to just like see beyond, like see what will come next. But I don't know, like I look back at the times where I was maybe stressed or really, I guess, just not mentally stable. And I'm just like, well, I got through that. I can't believe I was ever in that state because now I'm just like so grateful for my high school experience. And I've basically grown up in South Pass for my whole life. Like I came into the district in third grade and it's just been really special to see like all my friends grow up or see people that I've known from elementary school. Like we're all almost adults now, and that's so weird for me to think. Like I still think we're all in like fifth grade or like middle
Yeah, like high school went by so fast. Like it was so fast. It's like weird.
Yeah.
Like we knew each other, or like different for both of you, but like around like what 12? Like
seventh grade. I think. Well, you and Sonali longer time.
Long time, yeah.
Yeah.
Weird to think about.
One of my best friends, Julia Shadman, if you guys know her,
yeah, we love her.
Yeah.
So she lives 2 blocks away from me. We've known each other since preschool. And it's like, so by the end of like high school, we've known each other for almost like 14 years. And that's insane to think that even people who you're just acquaintances with that you've known, if you've gone through like kindergarten all the way to senior year with them, that's like what, like 12 years, 13 years.
That's me with my friend Ava, like since like preschool. Yeah, it's just like, it's crazy.
So again, for all of you guys, what are the steps that you guys had to take to get to where you are today? And if you feel comfortable answering, like what career choices are you considering, and then like plans for college or just the future in general? And whoever wants to jump right in, go ahead.
So for me, the steps that I've taken. So wait, do you want me kind of to relate with it in photography or just like in general? In general? Okay. So well, where I am today, I think I'm very just satisfied with like who I am. Like in freshman year, I did struggle a lot with like identity issues, just everything, like personal family issues. But I think as like I've grown, I've really like just molded myself into who I actually want to be, which I'm really happy about. Yeah, so freshman year, bad year. I do think like it's really important in high school to like actually try hard and to actually like try, because I feel like it's one thing to say, oh, I did try, but you're not actually paying attention in class, like you're not actually doing homework. And you're just studying like last minute before a test. You know, that's like something I used to do in freshman year. But I've really like grown from that, and I think I obviously like everyone slacks here and there, but yeah, I think that's definitely something that just has really like improved me, just like my work ethic in general, and then also balancing that with photography was just something I really like learned how to do over time. But yeah, just with photography too, I've just been really satisfied with everything right now. Um, I've gotten more into like social media during quarantine, like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, yeah. But I've just been like getting so many opportunities because of like all this stuff. Like I've been getting like brand deals, like just people reaching out to me to take more photos of them, like new clients and everything. So yeah, I'm really happy with where I am today. And for college majors, I am thinking about going into business. I was thinking about photography for a while, but I feel like that's very competitive, and I don't know if I'm like a risk taker like that. So I'm going to start off with business, and then in the future, if I do want to continue with photography, then I will. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, steps to get where I am, I think I've just in general kind of worked pretty hard. I tend to work hard just like in general, which is really important. And something I've noticed is even more important, like throughout my high school years, like you, Chris, I feel like in the beginning of the year, like my freshman year, I was like, what is all this work compared to middle school? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on, but I kind
The
of
jump is like really big. Like it's like
like
scary.
yeah, I've just kind of learned how to work in the ways that I can and stay motivated, and also like you find a balance between my creative outlet, music, and school, which is also really important and can be difficult. And yeah, also just surrounding myself with good people made me a good person. Um, yeah, and then for colleges, I am not completely sure on like a solid thing. Pursuing in the music industry is like a dream and something like it can be really difficult to pursue, but that's like my number one goal. But if it backfires, because it can, it's like a crazy place. I'm also interested in teaching elementary school students, or finding something like that. So yeah.
Oh my god, I could totally imagine like Mrs. Solomon, like little buttons.
Yeah.
That's so cute. And also, I just want to like, oh, I love you guys so much, and you both are just like so creative and talented, like Chris.
Aww,
Totally, I feel like
I
you've
love
evolved
you.
in this quarantine, and it's super exciting for me to see because I know you've been through some tough things, and I'm like, she's a little entrepreneur out here getting bread. Like, yes.
She be making the big bucks.
But I
Thanks,
guess
guys.
for me, it's funny because when I see this question, like where you are today, I just think of the show, like, is it like Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide? You see it was on like Nickelodeon. It's about like middle school and like surviving middle school. But so I guess my guide to high school is just like finding a really good group of friends and honestly accepting that you're going to outgrow some friendships, and that's a really hard thing to do, especially when you've been friends with people so long. But just I've gotten to where I am today, like to feel very secure about myself and the people I surround myself with, is just like accepting that change is a part of life, obviously, and a big part of high school. You know, like from freshman year to senior year, like you're going to change so much. Like you're literally just going to blossom into like an entirely different person sometimes, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It could be a really good thing. So I think for me, yeah, I've just been able to surround myself with really good people and try new things. Because right now I like have interests with wellness, of course, and just even like with film specifically, which I'll talk a little more about like with college. But I've been able to like take part in some film programs like outside of school during like these past couple of years and just like find what I really love to do and like what I want to spend my time doing. I also want to shout out our like volleyball program because I've met some wonderful, wonderful girls, like my teammates and some of the coaches. They really like kind of, my coach especially, shout out to Coach Lexi. She's been like a little mentor for me and just helping me with like some of my own problems with mental health and just anxiety. So like mentoring me through that and just like learning what works best for me to manage my stress because I'm generally a very anxious person. So just finding things that make me happy have really enabled me to just survive high school. I don't want to say survive because then it makes it sound like it's hell, but I know sometimes it's not, I don't know, it's not the easiest thing to go through. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Ooh. And so in terms of college, I'm still kind of like undecided. I feel like it depends on what I want to do, like depends on the day you ask me. I really would love to go into the film industry when I'm older. I'd love to be a film director, but and I don't know if I even want to go to like Hollywood. Like I'm fine doing like more independent things because I know breaking into that field is like very hard and difficult. But I've just always been a huge like film buff. My mom has always showed me like the saddest movies since like birth. So I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I've always been into films and stuff like that. Or even something like history I might want to pursue because both my parents have degrees in Chicano studies, which is important to me because I also identify as like a Chicana. So just learning about history, I've always loved that. So yeah, I'm also like Bella and Chris trying to figure out ways I can maybe like balance my creative passions with like a more academic side in my future.
And then coming off from that question, what advice do you guys have for any grade level of high school students?
I would say don't worry too much about other people in terms of what other people think about you. This is definitely something that I struggle with. But everything is temporary. Just live up your high school experience. This is it can be one of the most exciting parts of your life. And it doesn't last forever. So literally just don't worry about you know what I'm saying. But yeah, that's definitely a very big piece of advice that can impact, yeah.
I feel like one of my parents saying this, but it really does go by really flash. It goes it goes by really fast, like literally in just the blink of an eye. Like I feel like I was a freshman just like last year, so just really enjoy it. Like I know you might not want to get so involved in like activities or go to dances or football games, but those really like that's where I really have some of my best memories and like the activities with my friends. Yeah, and just not to take things too seriously. I know like if something maybe embarrassing happens, you really think about it a lot, but honestly, everyone's too like worried thinking about themselves that I'm sure they're not really thinking about maybe one embarrassing thing that you did during class. I know now, we're not having the conventional school year. So I just say try to really also find just those things that you love that'll get you through the day and treat yourself to something, I don't know, like watch your favorite show at the end of the day or take a nice relaxing bath. I've been taking so many baths recently, which is not like me, but I love relaxing. I feel like a little classy lady, but yeah, just not like what Bella said. Don't take things too seriously and ask for help if you need it. If that's like academically or just if you're feeling stressed, like we actually really do. I know as a wellness officer, I'm really pushing for more resources for students surrounding mental health. But we do have some fantastic counselors. Our staff, all our teachers are most likely really open to talking to students. And then we have Miss Prime too. So if you need help just mentally, feel free to just like reach out to someone, talk to them, talk to friends. And then with school too, we have like, this is so lame, but yeah, we have like tutoring and stuff. So if you need help academically, don't be ashamed. I've like definitely asked so many questions to my teachers, but you know, like they've helped my grade a lot. So don't be afraid to ask for help.
I would say like this obviously sounds so generic because everyone says this, but I would honestly say just to like be yourself. It's one thing. I feel like high school there's so many pressures, like peer pressures of like what your friends are doing, and like just I feel like it's really important to stand your ground and like what you want, what you believe in, and don't really follow the crowd. This is something like everyone struggles in high school, obviously, and you don't want to like regret something because you're just doing it because your friends are doing it. So yeah, I do think it's important to just be yourself and just try to be like a nice, unproblematic person because people will love you then. If you're just problematic, like it's just not gonna be a good time for you. But yeah, and I also think it's really important to like, or obviously like you don't have to, but I feel like once you find like kind of your passion on like something you like, really like obviously again it's gonna be generic to say, oh, dream big, like do what you love, but honestly, yeah, like just really invest in what you love to do and it'll go far away, you know. But yeah, that's just my main advices.
I just had one more thing that's also important. Um, Obviously, like grades and stuff is super nerve wracking and stressful in school. Just don't let grades define you. Like, obviously, it's super important.
Yes.
It's so important to be like, that is not what like defines your success as a person. We all have our different strengths and weaknesses. Yeah, just that's something to keep in mind.
I definitely can agree with that. Again, freshman year, I did struggle with school, and that really hit me. Like, I literally would, like, I would think I'm dumb. Like, I would literally say, like, I'm so dumb. Like, I'm dumb, you know? Exactly, yeah. But I just realized throughout the years that, like, it's not even about, like, being dumb or not. It's honestly just about, like, trying and, like, I'm smart in, like, other ways, you know? I might not be academically, like, super there, but like creatively I'm like really smart, and yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, don't let grades define you. Like, they're not definitive of how successful you'll be or what type of person you are. Just try and be yourself and you'll be okay.
So obviously you guys are seniors, so I would assume maybe hopefully you guys have a lot of like funny high school stories, hopefully, or at least just like a good memory that you can think of that had to do with like your friends, family, anything about your high school journey.
Um, I don't even know if I should share that. I'm just gonna share it. It's just like funny. At the time, it wasn't funny, which is why it's funny now. But I think it was sophomore year, me and Chris had to sing the national anthem.
Oh, I like hate thinking about this.
I know, I hate thinking about this, but it's just so funny. Like, we had to sing the national anthem, which is like one of the hardest songs to sing ever, in my opinion. Like the range of that song is so hard.
It's so short, but it's like so hard.
Yeah, and like I love performing. I love performing, but I don't know what happened. But that morning I was like, I can't do this. I cannot. Like I can't. So I was like literally like hysterically crying. Like I was at home crying.
Yeah, you threw up, right?
I threw up actually. Like and everyone was texting me like, "Where are you? You're supposed to be on stage in like 20 minutes." It was like brunch, and I think the assembly was like right after that. I don't know. That was like, it's funny now to look back because it ended up being like fine, and it was just like, okay, that was like a minute-long song.
Yeah. No, and I was really surprised because I feel like you've always been in musicals like your whole life, you know? So I would expect myself to be more of like the stage fright person because I don't go on the stage like that much, especially with singing. So yeah. It was like funny to like see you like panic so much, and I had to be like the one to be like, oh no, Bella, it's fine, even though I was like the one singing like the highest note and like the thing.
Not worried at all. You were like, why are you like, it's fine. Like,
no, yeah, it was so weird that I was like, why am I like okay? But yeah, that was definitely really funny.
Um, I'm just trying to think of some off the top of my head, but since you mentioned assemblies, I remember the very first roll call of high school. I know freshmen may be listening now, like won't know what this is, but so the very first like I think that it's like the welcome assembly, like freshman year, when was Andrews
It was
administrative assembly? Okay,
Yeah.
Andrew Keith, the king himself. So he started roll call and he was like, "Let's hear it for the freshmen." And I swear the entire building was like shaking because everyone was booing us so much. And I was like, "Oh my god, everyone hates us at the school." Like it was so scary, but like I don't know. After a while, like doing roll call, that was just like fun. But I just think it's funny now looking back, just to be like how scared I was, like as a little freshman. But it really wasn't that deep. I mean, it's a little high school tradition.
I have like this not like super funny but really embarrassing moment. It's like the day I literally can't even just can't even watch videos of it. Like I can't look back on it. There's this guy. I don't know if I should name his name. He doesn't go to our school anymore. But okay, I won't name his name.
First name but not last name.
Okay.
You can give him like a code name. Like
Yeah, we'll call him like Luke. So Luke. So I at that time, I don't know if you know the song called "Like Me Better" or "I Like Me Better." I used to be like obsessed with that song. I mean, not gonna lie, like it still kind of hits a little bit, like, but I just overplayed it. But I used to love that song. Like I used to love it. And this guy that liked me, his Luke or whatever, he knew that I liked it. And this was this like icebreaker dance? Wait, this was like homecoming. Okay, so at that time, freshman year, homecoming wasn't like a formal dance. Like it was just like, a casual dance. But he planned out this whole like proposal, that was called, yeah, whatever. Yeah, and he got like this huge poster and said like, "I like me better when I'm with you at Hoko." And then he had like a whole bunch of girls, like, I don't know why my friends were involved with this. They were like encouraging this, and I was like, "Why did you guys do this?" But he came out with like the whole poster with like roses, candy, everything, and like asked me in front of everyone. Everyone was like filming, and I was like, and I didn't like him. Like we were friends, so I was just like, "Yeah." And then like, and then after that, I obviously like, I didn't even go to Hoko, but I felt bad after. But it was literally the most embarrassing moment ever, especially because of that song too. And then like everyone filming me, and I remember like seniors coming up, and like this one girl came up, she was like, "Oh my god, this is so cute," and she like took pictures of us. And now when I like look back, I'm like, wow, she has pictures of us together, and like and I just really didn't want like everyone to think that we were together either. So yeah, that was a very like horrible moment. But I also think it's really interesting how like South Pass, like asking someone out is just very not like our culture. Like we don't do that whatsoever. Or just going to a dance with someone like as friends, like is not a thing either. Like a guy and a girl as friends, which is so weird to me because like all other schools like San Marino, Arcadia, Temple City, like they all just like casually ask like their friend out to go with them to a dance and everything. But yeah, I just find that really interesting.
I remember that so vividly. I don't know why, but that was just one of the iconic moments of my high school.
It was horrible.
I'm so glad you. With,
Yeah,
like,
when
the
I
song
get
the speaker.
Yeah, they were playing the song, and then when I get like, what's it called, like Snapchat memories, it's like 2 years ago today. Like, oh, I couldn't even like watch the videos. It was so horrible.
No, so funny. Definitely a highlight. Oh my god.
I still have the poster though. It's like funny, and like my dad didn't know about him either, and so the roses that he gave me, I like didn't know what to do with them, so I had it in my room. And at the time, like I didn't have like a vase or anything, so I literally put the flowers in like my toilet. Like, because I didn't want to go upstairs and get a vase and stuff because like my parents are gonna be like, "What are you doing?" Like I couldn't display it anywhere, so I just hid it in my restroom, like on the toilet thing, and then yeah.
That's it. Nice, Chris.
Any other stories or thoughts you guys want to conclude on?
Oh, wait,
I just want to give like, oh, you can go.
You go, Chris. You go.
Okay, I just want to give a shout out to like all my friends, obviously like Bella and Sonali, but also Ava and Claire. Like, it's just been like such a great like high school experience just like with them. Everyone's just so supportive of each other. Like with Bella and her music, like I'm just so glad that we're all just so supportive of her, and like I was able to take photos of her for her like album cover thing. So it's just kind of cool how we all can like help each other like work together. And like Claire also helped like Bella like with like writing and stuff, or like my friends, I always like I can always count on my friends. I'd be like, hey, like can you model for me for this like look? I can always just count on them to like ask them to do stuff. So just really cool how like I'm just so comfortable with all of them, to the point where like it's just really nice to like have.
Sure. People listening, surround yourself with good people.
Yeah. And also I'm so like, it's so amazing how like all of us, like our friend group is just so talented in like different ways, and like we can just support each other through that, which I think is really cool.
Sorry, I was trying to think of something to say. Okay, I know Chris just gave that beautifully heartfelt little message, but I have like one more funny story that actually involves our last year's Commissioner General, Jewel Nguyen. She's probably not listening to this, but anyway, so I remember we were on the bus driving back from Malibu from like a volleyball tournament, and so everyone was kind of like, I don't know, everyone was just tired. We're on the bus ride back, so most of the people are sleeping, but Jewel decides to get out of her seat, roll down the one of the bus windows and starts like screaming at people like on the beach, like random stuff. Like she's like, I have your butt cream, and like people are just looking at me like, who is this random chick like literally screaming at me? And I don't know, that's just like, I love you, Jewel. Shout out to you, but I don't know. High school is really stressful, but it can also be really funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. If we feel good about everything we said, you have to take a thumbnail selfie right now. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a bunch of them right now. So everyone's so cute. And then I'll take some like this. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Of course, thank you. This is such a good idea.
Yeah, we're really trying to like keep like school and community still together. So we thought this would be a good idea.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.